A dog wearing a collar made of long, sharp spikes. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Maybe the owner is trying to look tough. Or just maybe, he's wearing a gladiator-style battle collar to protect his neck against vicious wolf and bear attacks. For thousands of years, the people of Turkey have raised and bred one of the fiercest dog breeds in the world. Famous for their ferocious loyalty and natural instinct for guarding livestock, the Kangal dog will put its life on the line to protect those around them. So when hungry wolves come looking for sheep to eat for dinner, the Turkish bodyguard will almost always step in. But when it comes down to a fight to the death, who comes out on top? Around 35,000 years ago, humans in Asia and the Middle East began adopting wolves and domesticating them into companions, protectors, and guard dogs for their tribes. It took hundreds of years and thousands of generations of selective breeding, but eventually, we had two distinct animals, the modern wolf and man's best friend. Despite the obvious differences between wolves and dogs, the two animals share 98.9% of their DNA. Yep, that's right. Your grandma's Chihuahua is just a few chromosomes away from being a dire wolf. One breed that has remained relatively unchanged for the last 6,000 years is the Turkish Kangal dog. Bred for its loyalty, ferocious guarding ability, and lifelong companionship, the Kangal is regularly exported around the world. So what makes the Kangal so adored, so feared? And what happens when the biggest predators of the wild square up against the Kangal? Thought to have descended from 8th century Assyrian mastiffs, the Turkish Kangal has been the ultimate guard dog for thousands of years. Kangals are large, powerful, heavy-boned dogs with large, wide heads, an extremely powerful bite. We'll find out just how powerful a little later on, and distinctively curly tails. They measure between 28 to 34 inches tall and can weigh anything from 90 to 150 pounds. And while the Kangals of today are famous flock herding dogs, they didn't start out that way. Originally, Kangals were the personal guard dogs of the ancient Turkish ruling class. They were fiercely loyal and would attack anything that posed a threat to their master or property. Everything from Mongol armies to Ottoman salesmen. But something about their behavior caught the eye of local farmers. When groups of small children would begin to wander outside the boundaries of the village, Kangals would follow at a distance, making sure no harm came to the tiny humans. If they began to stray too far, the Kangal would give a little growl and bark to remind the children it was time to come home. The Turkish people soon realized that the Kangal was fiercely defensive of small, defenseless kids, and that cranky parent syndrome extended to livestock too. Farmers began taking Kangals out with their flocks of sheep to protect them against predators looking for an easy meal. They had the alertness, agility, and speed to quickly intercept animals like wolves, jackals, and even bears. Kangals are raised with sheep and are accepted as part of the flock long before they begin their working career. From a young age, Kangals can understand the dynamic of sheep behavior and know instantly if something is wrong. The understanding goes both ways. While on guard duty, Kangals will find a vantage point, generally somewhere high they can watch the entire flock from. When they sense something isn't quite right, the suspicious shepherd will stand with its tail and ears erect and bark out an alarm call. The sheep know this bark means danger, and they instinctively gather together for protection. The Kangal will then place itself between the perceived threat and the sheep or master. Only once the sheep are safely behind it, the Kangal will confront whatever animal is intruding. At this point, the Kangal is willing to die for the flock of sheep. A Kangal's keen guarding instinct doesn't just cover sheep either. It's a Kangal's job to protect everyone in the village, even other dogs. They've been captured on film racing to save a pet dog from the clutches of a wolf. Aw, good boy! Are you a dog person? Do you like dogs that can fit in a handbag? Or when it comes to your favorite furry friend, do you feel bigger is better? Let us know in the comments below. Oftentimes, it's a wolf that comes calling for a little lamb souvlaki, and in a fight, there's not always a clear winner. For that reason, farmers and owners began fitting their Kangals with the most metal accessory of all time: giant freaking spikes. Yep, that's right. Each flock herding Kangal has 6-inch spikes coming from their collars. This makes latching onto a Kangal's neck kind of like taking a bite out of a cactus. When a predator is spotted, a Kangal and his backup, if they're on hand, will race out to meet the threat head-on. Their first line of defense is intimidation, shock, and awe. A ferocious barking growl is usually enough to send jackals, wolves, and even bears running for the hills. Kangals love a good chase and will pursue predators for miles at full speed. As a giant breed, however, Kangals have to be careful that they don't overheat. Exhaustion and heat stroke is a big killer of this beautiful breed. But what happens when the intimidation and standover tactics don't work? 2 words: dogfight. One-on-one, Kangals and its arch nemesis, the Eurasian gray wolf, is fairly evenly matched. They both stand about the same height and weigh about the same on the scales. One last thing we can compare is bite strength. A Kangal has the strongest bite force out of any dog on the planet, at 743 pounds per square inch. To date, there has only been 3 documented measurements of a gray wolf's bite strength. National Geographic measured a bite force of 406 psi, while a private organization recorded 580 and 661 psi respectively. Despite this, biologists believe that a gray wolf can bite with a maximum force of 1200 psi, making the gray wolf a dangerous opponent for the Kangal. Luckily, Kangals tend to work in teams, and the odds tend to tip into their favor when a wolf stays too close. One dog will hold the body of the wolf in his teeth, while the other thrashes at the helpless wolf's neck. So what other creatures end up on the receiving end of the Kangal's powerful jaws? Big black bears often wander into Turkish farmers' lands looking for a Sunday lamb roast. Just to demonstrate that Kangals have literal balls of steel, you only need to see just how they kick Yogi's ass right across the picnic. Over the last few decades, Kangals have been exported to Africa to help local farmers protect their herds from big cat predators. Normally such a happy animal, this hyena quickly learned that messing with a Kangal is no laughing matter. If you need any more proof that Kangals are fearless, check out just how they handle being confronted by a tiger and a lion. Okay, so maybe the tiger is just in play mode, but you wouldn't catch me trying to have a tickle fight with a tiger. It's easy to see why the Kangal is not only a loyal companion, but a fierce protector of everything they love. It's the reason why the Kangal is the national dog of Turkey, featured on postage stamps and coins. How do you think the Kangal would fare against other dogs like a Doberman, Rottweiler, or French Mastiff? If we took off the spike collar, who would come out on top? Let us know who you think would win in the comments.